Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the last day of the Convergence of Accounting and Technology for a Sustainable Business Summer Course. It's good to see all of you again here today. I hope everyone is having a great day and is excited for today's session. I am Alisa and I am your MC for today. We have two lectures on our agenda today. First, the lecture by Dr. Nufransa Wira Sakti, S.Kom M.Ec, the Assistant Minister of Tax Supervisory at the Ministry of Finance in Indonesia, with the topic e-tax implementation and threats, which will be moderated by Mr. Taufik Akbar Parluhutan, SA, M.Sc. Second, the lecture by Professor Madya Dr. Azrul Abdullah CAM from University Technology Mara, Malaysia, with the topic Accounting Strategic and Organizational Performance, which will be moderated by Ms. Windy Astuti, SA, MSc. The second lecture will be held at 2 p.m. Jakarta time. Before we move on to the lecture session, we will sing the national anthem of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya. Next, I would like to remind all the participants of the rules for the lecture session. Please keep your camera open and mute your microphone. Second, for the Q&A sessions, if you want to ask your questions directly, please raise your hand or you can send your questions to the chat box following the format name underscore affiliation or university underscore question. Third, participants are expected to fill out the attendance form that will be shared at the end of every lecture. Now, on to the first lecture, e-tax Implementation and Threats by Dr. Nufransa Wira Sakti, S.Kom M.Ec. And I would like to introduce our moderator, Mr. Taufik Akbar Parluhutan, SAMSE. Mr. Taufik is a lecturer in the Accounting Study Program at Universitas Sumatera Utara with a specialized master's degree in accounting and extensive research experience in financial accounting and taxation. Mr. Taufik obtained his bachelor's and master of accounting from Universitas Sumatera Utara. Mr. Taufik is also the internal quality control team of the Faculty of Economics and Business. To Mr. Taufik Akbar Parluhutan, SAMSE, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to say thanks to Almighty God that has given us strength, health, and opportunity to here attending this international summer course 20 and 23 with topic Convergence of Accounting and Technology for Sustainable Business taught by Accounting Study Program, University of Sumatera Utara. And then I would like to say thanks to Honorable Speaker Mr. Dr. Nufransa Wira Sakti, S.Kom M.Ec, for being willing to the speaker today. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Taufik.
Good morning, sir. Welcome to and all participants from several countries like Malaysia, Thailand, Pakistan, Bahrain, and Indonesia. May all of you in a good health. I'm Taufik. Before entering the event, let me read the curriculum vitae of the speaker today. Alisa? Okay. Mr. Nufransa, he is Assistant Minister for Tax Supervisory at Ministry of Finance Indonesia. And then he received his doctoral degree from Niigata University, Graduate School of Modern Society and Culture in Japan in 2009, and Master of Economics from Yokohama National University Public Policy and Taxation in Japan in 2002. And Mr. Nufransa also involved in several organizations, such as Chairman of the Indonesian Student Union Nagata in Japan 2006, Chairman of the Niigata International Islamic Student Association 2007, and Chairman of Yokohama Indonesian Student Association 2001, and too many awards he received. And now we are going to listen to lecture from Mr. Dr. Nufransa Wira Sakti, S.Kom, M.Ec. Mr. Nufransa will present material and share information about e-tax. As we know that e-tax is a system that allows individual business and organization to prepare, submit, and process their tax return and related documents using digital technology and the internet instead of using traditional paper and mailing them to tax authority. Taxpayer can use electronic tax system to streamline the tax filing process. And then after speaker delivered the material, we enter the question and answer session. Please to be able to ask question directly, or you can send question to chat box room. Without wasting any more time, so please, Mr. Dr. Nufransa Wira Sakti, S.Com, M.Ec, the time is on your hands, sir. Thank you.
Suara Pak.
Hear you, sir.
Excuse me, Dr. Nufransa, we still cannot hear you.
Hello, everyone.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, because the connection is not good here, so I'm using two users of Zoom. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Taufik. It's an honor for me to share the knowledge about electronic taxation from the Directorate General of Tax in I'm happy to share this because we realize that the knowledge of taxation is important to all of the students here in University of Sumatera Utara, including also the foreign students who's coming from. So starting my presentation, I would like to share about the tax administration business model. Can someone share that? Okay. So, the aim of and maximize collection. This is the choice of tax administration in order to have more and more tax revenue from the taxpayer. Then we need to reduce the tax gap. Tax gaps mean that the capacity of society to collection gets minus the final result of a greater uh,
I'm sorry, sir. We can hear you again.
how about now? Test.
Okay, sir.
It's okay now?
Okay. It's okay.
Okay, and then the second one is about enforcement. Enforcement means that we need to make a taxpayer comply with to control and fraud detection. So we conduct the selective audit and massive audit and the field audit. And by using these activities, we need to have the data so that information and data is the most important thing to use for the enforcement, not only for enforcement, but also for the services. So why the tax administration need adopting digital transformation? The first one is this is the opportunity to derive from emerging and affordable technologies. And the second one, to increase volumes and frequency of information flows, and the needs to participate in the international agenda, and the rise and tax challenge of the digital economy. This is important because for the case of Indonesia, we only have 45,000 employees. Meanwhile, the number of taxpayers are very huge, has reached until today has reached more about 16 million. So we cannot conduct the services and also the enforcement if we have if we don't have the data, and also if we do it manually. That's why we need the technology and also digital transformation, so that all of the data from the taxpayer can conducted by digital, to make it easier for us and also make it easier for the taxpayer. And this is the journey of tax administration's digital. The first one, we call it the tax administration 1.0. This is the paper-based and silo processes and tax administration center view of how the tax system should operate. This is maybe prior to 1990s. I was joined the tax administration office in Jakarta in 1995, and at that time I was already using the technology such as a computer based, but still maybe 70% the administration doing by paper. And then the second one, the tax administration 2.0, this is the taxpayer-centric e-administration, where most of the functions are digitized, although the fundamental process are the same, but faster and more efficient. This is more like the office automation. So we are trying to make all the manual process become automatic. But the tax administration 3.0 is paradigm shift, where the taxpayer and tax administration system are interconnected, and where compliance is automatic and seamless, and where the traditional decision function are done by technology. We also help by the third party, such as internet service provider and also application service provider, who help us to become a hub before connecting to the Directorate General of Tax in Indonesia. So this is the vision of tax administration 3.0. This is like ice mountain where that the citizen sees and interact with us. This is they are using the personal devices, an application, Internet of Things, and business management system. And the taxpayer touch point is how the community engages with the tax administration and government. Business management system are the primary touch point for the business. So they are not knowing what we are doing in the back office. So in the back office, what happens below the line to achieve an integrated frictionless experience, we have the citizen data and also the events. For example, starting this year, we are also have the data from taxpayer identification from the digital ID of societies. And also we have the data from the retail, for example, and also international agencies. We join the exchange of information with the service, financial service from many countries around the world. And also we have some data from the banks and other agencies. So this is the taxpayer obligation and requirement for eligibility of a benefit are fulfilled as part of the normal course of activities. They are not aware about what we are doing behind the tax office. But what they see is the application, Internet of Things, something like that. This is the tax administration 3.0. And the core elements of tax administration 3.0, there are several. The need for the first is the real-time tax certainty provider. So tax administration process will be increasingly real-time or close to be real-time. For example, if Mr. Taufik paying the tax, that the obligation of a tax administration is to serve to provide some data that Mr. Taufik's already paid, and we can confirm that in real time. And also the transparency and trustworthy. This is the taxpayer will have the opportunity to check and question taxes assessed, paid, and due in real time. In the future, Directorate General of Taxes can provide this one so that if you have applications such as a bank application, then the future tax administration in Indonesia will also will do the same thing, so that we can see what taxes already paid, what is due, and also when it becomes late, then something like that. And also an integrated part of our government. So taxation is increasingly joined up with other government services and functions. For example, we join with the Directorate General of Immigration, Directorate General of Custom and Excise, and something like that. And the third one is human touch and high-tech adaptive organization. So taxpayer-centric perspective will be in the touch focal point around which tax administration process are structured and governed. So we, as mentioned before, join with other stakeholders such as provider, so that we can adopt many technology, the current technology, so that make it easier for the taxpayer to comply with the tax obligation. And also, we embedded within taxpayer neutral system, meaning that paying taxes will become a more seamless experience over time, integrated into daily life and businesses activities as much as possible. It means that in the future, maybe if we, for example, buy something or sell something, then all of the transaction record will be saved by the merchant, and then the merchant will connect to the tax administration, so that in the next month, for example, if we want to calculate our tax, that will automatically appear in the system, something like that. And what is the building blocks of tax administration 3.0? We have the digital identity. It means that this is a support a secure and unique identification of taxpayer and citizen in a joint up way. We already have the single ID from the National Identification ID, which is called M.Ec in Indonesian, and also the taxpayer touch point. It means that increasing looking for opportunities to put such touch point into taxpayer neutral system, including in more automated ways. And also data management and standard. This is creating the framework for how the administration manage data most effectively to maximize compliance and minimize burdens. And also, not less important, is about the tax rule management and application. This is how we create and distribute tax law in administrable and verifiable formats to allow stakeholders to integrate tax rule within their own preferred system. And also, of course, behind all this technology, we need the new skill set from the human intervention, especially not only the tax employees, but also the tax payers itself. And also the government frameworks guiding the development, implementation, and connectivity of the other building blocks. So this is the digital maturity levels of tax administration 3.0. The process as such, for example, the first step is emerging, progressing, established, leading, and aspirational. So Indonesia, I guess, in the second step, which is progressing, it means that tax administration which have made or are undertaking reform in digitalization as part of progressing towards the average level of advanced tax administration. So starting next year, we have the new system of tax administration in Indonesia. So I think this is the maturity level is in the second grade of this level. And the second part of my presentation is about the digitalization of Indonesian tax administration. So Indonesian tax system adopting the self-assessment system, which the type of tax is income tax, value-added tax, property tax, and stamp duty. This is the national tax administration. We are not mentioning about the local government tax. They have their own tax, different with the national tax administration. So the income tax for individuals is progressive rate from 5% until 30%. The corporate flat rate 25%, and for the small and medium enterprises, 50% or lower. And then also the value-added tax flat rate is 11, starting this year, and also the property tax flat rate from 0.5%, but effective rate is 0.1. And the stamp duty, we have this is already changed. We have the one rates of stamp duty, and also we have the tax treaty with 65 countries. The data from 2015. And also Indonesian tax administration function, our mission is collecting tax revenue based on the law, establish a self-funding for state budget and effective and efficient tax administration system with a high compliance of compliance coming from the services, assurance, and law enforcement. Services we enable to enabling taxpayer to comply faster, easier, and less costly, and also reliable. Assurance meaning that ensuring taxpayer to comply in order to accordance with the tax law and regulation, and also the law enforcement by building public trust, by ensuring fairness and for good taxpayer by the rule of laws. And we have the supporting function to enable the tax administration to provide services, to undertake function, and to ensure the rule of law. So the taxpayer touch point in Directorate General of Taxes in Indonesia, we have journey for the tax administration in digital. For example, starting 2002 until 2007, we have the starting point by electronic registration, so that the taxpayer can register by online by using the application. And also we also modernize the phase one. We have the application national in DigiTaxes. The second round is 2000 until 2013, 2008 until 2013. We developed the call center called Krim Pajak, and also we have the electronic filing of tax return, and also electronic billing for tax payment. And 2014 until 2018, we have developed the compliant risk management, or CRM, and also we are starting to provide the services for electronic tax invoices, and also electronic bupot, meanings that electronic withholding tax. So during the last 5 years, we tried to build the core tax system with taxpayer account management as single interface for taxpayers, and using the national ID or taxpayer identification number to have the core tax system integrated with the tax administration 3.0. Yeah, meaning that we have to integrate a single application, single data analytic, and all core function. This is the journey of our tax digital system. And what are the services provided by the Directorate General of Taxes in Indonesia? So the second one is about this. The first one I mentioned before is the electronic registration, or EREC. We call it EREC. Taxpayer register to get the tax identification number if they have met the objective and subjective requirement. And once they met the objective, then they need to register by offline or online. Then we provide the online, we call it the electronic registration. And by using the application and also the email, and also phone number, and also the valid address, then the taxpayer or the society can register online. Within less than 1 day, they have the number of taxpayer identification number. The second one is the e-reporting services. We provide a filing or e-form for the taxpayer who wants to submit their tax return online. So they can submit all the tax return and also business activities using the tax return form by digital to the Directorate General of Taxes. And also we have the billing services. In order to pay the tax, then we can pay online by using the billing code. Then by creating the billing code, then after that we can pay the tax by using digital, such as ATM, internet banking, mobile banking, or using the e-commerce marketplace that will already joined with us from nationally. And also, we have the education services by you provide tax assistance and also consultation through tax education. And we have the direct services, indirect, and also through third parties. Direct means that we have the call center, live chat, and so on. And indirect also, we have many programs by using podcasts such as YouTube, social media, Instagram Live, radio, and so on. And also by using coordinating and cooperation with the third parties, we have the business development services webinar and also tax volunteers. And for the medium and small enterprises, we have the service channelings also. We have the website who provide the information, a variety of tax service also, including for the small and medium enterprises. And from this website also, taxpayer can have the connection to DGT employees, DGT officers, so that they can talk directly or have the consultation directly if they have some problem with the tax matters. We also built the mobile apps called the M.Pajak or M.Taxes. We can get this service from the Play Store for Android and also for Apple App Store from iOS. Multiple taxation feature in one app is already built in this application, such as information about how to pay tax, which where are the closer tax office in your area, and what are our obligation for paying tax, and so on and so on. In the future, we will use this application to have more and more services to the taxpayer, so that every taxpayer can enjoy the tax obligation by using this application. And the services such as taxpayer profile, tax regulation, and also billing code generation, and so on and so on. And in the future, we will give more and more service to this application. And also, we have the what's so-called Kunjung Pajak, or we call it the queuing ticket application by using online. So that if you want to meet our officer, whether in head office, regional office, or in the tax service office, and then you can use this application to have the queuing number. By using this, then you have the exact time and place where to meet the tax officer. And also, this kind of service also not only the appointment, but also you can have the consultation for tax return and also tax application and so on. And also, as mentioned before, we also have the cooperation and coordination with the third-party taxation services. In these matters, we have what's called tax application service provider of AP in Indonesia. This third party provide tax application services for taxpayer and mainly provide supporting application services for taxpayers. For example, tax consultation, submission of tax return, submitting of tax monthly return, and so on and so on. So far, we have 13 companies as of September 2020. For example, we have the collaborate with the bank, with some provider like we call it Klik Pajak, Accurate, Pajak Express, and so on. And these PJAP services not only for submission of the tax return, but also we can get the tax identification number, and also e-invoicing are provided also with this PJAP, and also provision of application for making billing codes, and also the application for notification letter in the form of electronic document, and also a distribution of a tax return in the form of electronic documents. We also have the call center, we call it a Kring Pajak in Indonesia. This is the call center established by the DGT to improve service quality and transparency in tax information for taxpayer. Kring Pajak providing services by phone, email, and Twitter, and also live chats currently. By using this, you can have the direct consultancy with the tax officer provided by DG of Taxes in the working office hour, and not only consultation, but also you can also asking about how to submit the tax, for example, and also if you have some problem with your application, and so on and so on. And what are the issues and strategies for tax administration digital transformation? The first one is the lack of digital strategy. Most of the country, digitalization in tax administration is often implemented modern and are not connected to each other. This happened also in DigiTaxes in Indonesia. Nowadays we have so many modular application which are not connected to each other. But starting next year, we will integrate all the application so that this problem will solve by using what's so-called Cortex in the 2024. And the second one is low taxpayers digital adoption rates. The low rate may affect the outcome of digital transformation due to low interaction with taxpayers and resulting in low data collection from taxpayers. Some problems in Indonesia is because we have so many islands, in which islands is not all islands are connecting to the internet connection. So many taxpayers have the problem with the connection, so they must submit the obligation manually. The third one is the data secrecy and data protection regulation. So the tax authority needs to secure the data from the taxpayer so that the taxpayer feel comfort and safe with their data. Otherwise, data security and data protection will become the problem if the taxpayer doesn't have trust in the tax authority. So we need to make them safe, and also the data secrecy then we only use for the tax administration activities. And also the main problem of the tax administration in digital transformation in the world is the lack of political support. This is support is needed to ensure budget disbursed and people are deployed. For example, if we have some vision for transform our digital works, but there is no political support from the parliament, for example, or from the president or from the minister, it's nothing. Then we cannot do it because we don't have the budget, and also we cannot employ our tax officer in order to have the digital transformation. And also the strategy in digital transformation, there are four. The first one, we need to align with strategic direction. So digital transformation need to have the alignment with the vision and mission for the organization itself. Not only the vision of Director General Taxes or the tax authority, but also the Ministry of Finance, but also the Indonesians or the country as a whole. And also the second one, we need the strict legal basis. Strict legal basis regarding the procurement and implementation of the new system. So to make sure that the system and the technology and the digital transformation are in the place. And the third one is to manage the workforce. Tax administration should create a talent management strategy in line with the technology implementation roadmap. This is important because the tax officer need to have the knowledge and information about the digital transformation itself. If they don't have the ability or the capacity to transform with the technology, then the technology is nothing. Then we cannot elaborate our tax officer to have the same pace with the progress of the development of technology. And the fourth one is the stakeholder management. This is the communication strategy and also stakeholder management approach should be developed to get political support, taxpayer support, as well as tax employee support. So in order to have the digital transformation, we need the support not only from the tax officer, but also the tax societies, such as taxpayer, the third party, and all of the societies, including the whole government, or the parliament. And to have this, we need to strategy so that all the society support the digital transformation. So as a whole, tax administration 3.3.0 is an ideal condition in which tax administration aims to achieve through digital transformation. This is important because in the modern society, if we cannot catch up with the technology, then the administration, especially the tax administration, will be so poor and cannot achieve the main target of tax revenue. And the second one, the last number of tax base in Indonesia necessity digitalization of tax administration. As I mentioned before, with the number of tax officer only 45,000 and the number of taxpayers more than 60 million, then if we don't use the technology or digital transformation, then we cannot work these activities in normal ways. So we need the technology. And Director General of Taxes is progressing rapidly in terms of digital transformation in the past few years. We always try to develop our system, our technology, our communication networks in order to have the same pace with the current technology. This is important so that the society also can join and collaborate with us to join the digital transformation as an integrated system. In the term of tax administration 3.0, overall DGT is heading towards the direction of an established tax administration. As I mentioned before, we are on the second grade now, and we are trying to achieve the third or fourth grade of tax administration 3.0. And a digital transformation cannot be embraced without support of taxpayer and other government agencies. As mentioned before, we cannot walk this alone, so we need to have the support and collaboration from the taxpayer itself and also government agency. That's why I'm being here now to give some information and some knowledge about the tax administration, tax information technology, so that while you are being students, you can understand the tax administration system. Then when you have the income or you have work after finish this university, then you can give some obligation by using the digital tax administration. This is important also for us to say thank you for the opportunity given by the University of Sumatera Utara to have me here to share about the knowledge about DG tax transformation. I think that's all from me. Then we can continue with the discussion. Thank you, Mr. Taufik.
Thank you, Mr. Nufransa, for presenting a comprehensive outline about e-tax. For all participants, I will open the discussion. Please ask some question directly. You can send question to the chat box room. Thank you. Any question? Okay, while waiting for the participation question, I want to ask you a question, Mr. Nufransa. Talking about e-tax, as we know in Indonesia, company usually take care of their employee taxes. Why do employee keep doing tax independently? What does it do?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, Taufik?
Talking about e-tax, as we know in Indonesia, company usually take care of their employee taxes.
Okay.
Why do employee keep doing tax reportedly independent?
Okay. Yeah, you're right. The company already withhold the income tax from their employees and report to the DG taxes monthly or annually. But you, for example, have the work. You as individual need also to submit the tax return and comply with other obligations. Why we need to report because the companies already submit the tax return on behalf of you as an employee. The first reason is because if you have more incomes, for example, Mr. Taufik, not only as a lecturer, for example, but doing some business, other business, for example, by trading the car, for example, or maybe you have the income from selling some parts of the automobile, for example. Then this income is separated with income from your offices. Then you need to report, because income that have to be reported to the tax authorities, not only income from the work, but also coming from the businesses. So if you have some businesses, then you need to report individually. The second one, if you have transfer your assets, for example, you have properties, you have cars, you have luxurious painting, for example, and it's already report to the tax officer, but you buy a new one or you sell your things, then you need to report, because otherwise, if we find some activities by Mr. Taufik, for example, buying a new car, for example, but you don't report, then we find out that you have a luxurious car, for example, then we need to confirm that this is real you to buy the car. Why you don't report this in your tax return, for example? Then these activities need to be reported also. That's why, even though we already, for example, withhold by the company or our tax employers, we need to submit also our tax return individually. That's I think that's Mr. Taufik.
Okay, thank you, sir, for the explanation. For all participants, I will open the discussion. Please ask some question, maybe. Anyone? Please mute. Okay, we have a question from Kevin Tarigan. As we know that tax in Indonesia have developed to be more digital, so taxpayer can pay their tax easier for several programs from tax government. But we also know that internet itself is not that safe. Oh, okay. And this program will be gaining our data. So how the government secure this digital program in order to avoid digital problems such as leak data, etc.
Yeah, as I mentioned before in my presentation, the data security is the most important thing, that to make sure that the taxpayer data is not leaked or some theft by other third parties. Directorate General of Taxes have the system and the technology to make sure that our data is safe and also only used for the tax administration. So you don't have to worry about your data, because we have the high security level of our data maintaining, and also the connection also secure with the international standard, so that prior to your data coming to the DigiTaxes, this data is already secure by the system, and also during the the record coming to our tax data center, this is also secure by the higher system of security, uh, including also the latest system for internet security. So far, until now, we don't have the data leak on also, for example, internet fraud and something like that. So we can secure this with the international standard, and to make sure that we are gaining the trust from the taxpayer to secure the taxpayer data.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nufransa. Kevin, do you understand that? Can you understand?
Yeah, thank you, Mr.
Okay. Anyone? Please ask some question to Mr. Nufransa. From Malaysia, maybe? If you say you can text in chat box. Maybe you can raise hand. All participant. Okay, thank you. We have a new question from Sophie Medina. Everyone must pay taxes. As we know, many still do not to pay tax, even if tax help. Are there consequences for the individual if they didn't pay their tax?
Recording in progress.
Okay, thank you for the question, Ms. Sophie. What happens if we don't pay our obligation to pay tax? Then first, maybe if the tax authority found out that actually you are obliged to pay tax, but you don't pay tax, then we produce the notification to you, and also to how can I say, to confirm if this activities is doing by you or not. For example, Miss Sophie have the income more than the minimum tax payment, but Miss Sophie don't pay tax. Then we find out that Miss Sophie, for example, buying some luxury goods, for example, luxury car, for example, because we get some data from the car selling company, for example. Then we try to have confirmation for Miss Sophie. Is this your activities by doing by buying some by buying a luxurious car, for example? Then, if you confirm, then we need to have Miss Sophie to pay some taxes according to the income that we really have, including some fine also. And, we also give some obligation for Ms. Sophie to register as a taxpayer. Then we ask her to pay some taxes by calculating the real income of Ms. Sophie and the lack of income paid by Ms. Sophie then become the tax obligation, and also including the fine because Ms. Sophie don't pay tax. In the future, we connect with not only government but also the banks, financial services, and also companies, so that if you have some transaction with, for example, from the banks, from the, for example, the electronic companies as PLN, for example, by paying the electronic bills monthly, or some other activities, for example, you buy some apartment or houses, then we can find your data. So if you don't report or don't register as a taxpayer while you are having income more than the minimum of payment taxes, in Indonesia, the minimum pay income are 5 millions. Then you need to pay tax, including also the fine. So it's better to register as a taxpayer while you are having a job or having a business. Otherwise, the tax authorities will find you and give you some penalties, not only paying the actual taxes, but also including the penalties. Then the penalties is according to your fraud or your mistake. That's all, Mr. Prophet.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sophie, can you understand that?
Okay, thank you. But so if I didn't pay my tax, if I have a luxury cars, uh, the what pajak gitu, tempat pajaknya maksudnya will take my luxury card, or I just have to pay the penalty or the tax.
So after, Ms. Sophie, after the tax authority find you, then you need to register as a taxpayer by register, so that you can get the NPWP or the tax identification number, and you have the obligation to file the tax return every year. And also you have to pay the tax, including the penalties, because you are not paying tax before. And every year then you need to submit your tax return.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thank you. Thank you, Sophie and Mr. Nufransa. Well, we have a new question from lecturer Malinda Usu. Are there any upcoming enhancement our development plan for Indonesian e-tax system? Are there any trends or innovation in the e-tax space globally that could potentially influence system in Indonesia?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Malinda, Miss Malinda, for the question. In the future, starting next year, we have the core tax system, which is developed by the international company, so that we can integrate our system by using the latest technology and communication network. Some of the features are to make easier for the taxpayer to pay tax. For example, Ms. Malinda, if you have the application of tax system, then you can see
Bahasa Inggris coba.
how much taxes that you already paid, how much paid, how much tax that you need to pay, and also the obligation of your tax obligation during the current days, for example. If you want to some how maybe we can compare with the banking system. If you have the application mobile apps from the banking system, that will be the future of our tax system in the future. And another example is that we are now trying to collaborate with the banks and also financial services, so that if the banks withhold your tax, for example, you have the deposits or saving from the in one bank, for example, Bank BCA, for example, if you have deposit or saving, then the bank need to withhold your tax. Then this tax will report directly to the Director General of Taxes. We're trying to develop this kind of technology so that we know that, for example, Ms. Malinda have some 1 billion deposit, for example, or 500 million saving, for example. Because it hold it by the banks, then the banks tax authority. By doing this way, taxpayer not to be worried that will forget they forget to report, because they already have some already have some data. Then when Ms. Malinda need to report to the tax authorities, the data is already there. We call it pre-populated return. So if you want to submit the tax, your data is already there. That's what we are trying to develop in the near future. Thank you, Mr. Topic.
Thank you, Mr. Miss Malinda. Okay. Anyone want to ask some question? Okay. We have a new question from Okta Ginting. tax are the biggest revenue for the country. Do tax collection lead to corruption? If so, how do you think corruption is possible and how to eradicate it? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Okta, for the question. It's a interesting question, actually. Because actually, the technology gives some transparency for the tax administration. Yeah. If in the past, for example, if taxpayer need to consult with tax officer, for example, they have to meet each other face to face. By doing so, it's an opportunity to have some deal, quote unquote deal, in the bad way or the corruptions. It will appear because, for example, taxpayer meet with the tax officer directly. No one see them, and they can have some collaboration in bad ways. But using the technology, now we provide the consultation services which are directly without involving the tax officer. For example, in the last 20 years, for example, if you want to submit your tax return, you need to come to the tax office, meeting the tax officer and asking them how to fulfill this. And also the opportunity to have the corruption is bigger. Nowadays, you can submit your tax return directly without meeting the tax officer. If you have some problem, you can call directly with the call center. So the meet of taxpayer and the meeting of face-to-face of taxpayer and tax officer has reduced significantly. By doing so, this is more or less eradicate the opportunity of a corruption, because the corruption of the tax frauds are coming both ways, either by the taxpayer or the tax officer. By using the technology, the meeting of them are nowadays seamless or meaningless. They don't have to meet each other. So this is the big opportunity. The second one that we need to have extensive information, education, and consultation to the taxpayer, so that the taxpayer have the right information, the right education about tax regulation, tax administration. So there is no chance to tax officer to how can I say, to give the wrong direction for the taxpayer in order to have corruption or tax fraud. By the right information, then taxpayer is automatically will aware about their obligation and cannot be forced by the tax officer. And I think this is the answer. Thank you, Mr. Taufik, Mr. Okta.
Okay, Mr. Okta.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Well, we have a new question from Malaysia. Aiman from UITM. Why overseas phone required to register email to Bea Cukai in Indonesia, although other country allow local SIMs to be used in phone by from international such as S.Kom from Thailand can be used SIM card register in Hong Kong. Oh, okay.
This is about the custom, yeah, not the tax, but I will try to answer. why we need to register the email to the custom exercise in Indonesia. The main aim is to reduce the fraud from importing illegal phone, because the current past 2 years, the increasing numbers of illegal phone coming from other countries have happened in Indonesia. We cannot detect or the real number of cellular phone in Indonesia, so that we need to register in order to can be used in Indonesia. This is important because by using the international phone which already buy or bought in other countries, we need to register. Otherwise, if we don't register, it accordingly will be admitted as the illegal phone. But if you bring your own phone, for example, from foreign countries, for example, from Malaysia, then coming to Indonesia, and use this phone by for only for the new phone, not for the used phone. I think that's all my answer.
Okay, Mr. Thank you. Mr. Aiman? From UITM?
Yes, clear.
Oh, clear? Okay, anyone? One or two question maybe before I think we can close the session.
Assalamualaikum, Dr.
Waalaikumsalam.
First of all, we are exciting to have you. Like to discuss about e-commerce industry in Indonesia. And maybe this is related to the tax revenue in Indonesia, Doctor. So, as we all know, e-commerce become one of the biggest industries in Indonesia, and then become increase, Doctor. So, what is there any impact to the tax revenue and the implementation of 3.0 technology in tax office, Dr. Franz? Your thought, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Sambas, for your question. This is interesting because right, the e-commerce progress is very high in Indonesia, and also the transaction numbers also increasing year by year. This is also realized by the tax authority in Indonesia. Then we need to have the same pace with the e-commerce development in the world. And the first of all, that we already have the rules that if the global company have some businesses in Indonesia, for example, like Zoom, for example, or Spotify or Netflix, for example, then they need to collect tax, value-added taxes to the customer from Indonesia. Then if you realize that you're, for example, paying the Netflix subscription, they already have the value taxes there. That's one, the first one. The second one is that we already realized that many companies, for example, e-commerce marketplace, have their own businesses and also have some million or million customer with billion transactions. Then we need to collect some data from the marketplace itself. And how to get the data is a kind of problem. But we have some activities which cannot be presented here because this is our secret. But we can collect the data from them so that if you have transaction with the marketplace, then you need to pay tax. I realize this is not really formally implemented, but in the future, we try to collect some data from the marketplace by collecting by a point or assign them as a withholder tax. In the future, for example, if Basas have a store or become a merchant in the marketplace, then you need to pay tax to the marketplace. And the marketplace will give the data and also the tax to the tax. By doing so, then we can collect some data from the transaction of Pak Sambat as a trader. The third about e-commerce that we realized that not only the transaction from the business to business, but also the customer to customer. For example, many influencers also selling some goods through TikTok or Shopee. We realized this is the new kind of business. Then we try to collect some data also from them directly by doing some collecting the data from many sources. Very important, and also we need to up with the latest technology and the latest communication to the society. Thank you for the question, Mr. Sambas.
Orang dosen mudanya siapa? Kan sampai situ.
Okay, Mr. Sambas.
Thank you so much, Dr. Franz, Pak Taufik.
Okay, Mr. Maybe this is a last question from Harini. Also, what is the fraud strategy of implementing digital taxation in Indonesia? Fraud strategy.
Thank you for the question. Fraud strategy of implementing digital taxation in Indonesia. I don't really understand the question, but as mentioned before, by implementing the digital taxation, this is reducing the meeting of taxpayer and tax officer. The second one is the transparency. You can see how much due is your tax and how much rupiahs that you already paid. Then by looking this your account in the tax office, then you can automatically and also individually calculating your tax. Then this transparency is important because you also can adopt or implement the self-assessment system so that you can calculate it by yourself, your tax. In the future also, by using the technology and also the communication network, you can also using your activities or your businesses doing online so that you can calculate it, your tax automatically. This is important and also can make some easiness to the taxpayer doing the calculation, because mainly the tax fraud is coming from the wrong calculation, the wrong submission, or the wrong adapting the tax regulation. But by using the technology, we give the whole information about how to calculate the tax, about the new regulations, about how to fulfill your obligation, and so on and so on. This is also automatically will reduce the opportunity to the fraud, especially the tax fraud. As mentioned before, because it takes two to tango, it means that the fraud is not coming only from the intention of the tax officer, but also coming from the taxpayer. This is by using the technology, this opportunity will be less and less, so that the tax frauds will be reduced. Thank you, Mr. Taufik. Thank you, Ms. Harini, for the question.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Miss Harini. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir, for the answer.
Okay, maybe last question.
If there's no more question, then I think we can close this presentation.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Nufransa. It's okay. Anyone? Okay. We will close this. Okay, thank you, Mr. Nufransa, for the knowledge and sharing of material to increase the knowledge of the participant. Inshallah, we knowledge gain at today meeting can add to our knowledge. Before closing the event, I will give a conclusion regarding our discussion today. Tax administration around the world are adopting digital transformation for several important reasons. Maybe yeah. Number one is efficiency and accuracy, and number two is faster processing, of course. Number three is cost saving, and number four is exchange compliance. Number five is data analytic, and six risk assessment, transparency, compliance for taxpayer, real-time information exchange, easier communication, reduce fraud, and identity theft. Number 12 is modernization and public perception, maybe. Number 13 is adoption for changing tax landscape, and number 14 maybe global standardization. In Indonesia, electronic tax filing aim to simplify to tax compliance process, reduce paperwork, enhance accuracy, and promote efficiency in tax administration for both individual taxpayer and business. While digital transformation offers significant benefit, it also comes with a challenge such as cybersecurity concern, ensuring equitable access to digital service, and managing the transition for those less familiar with technology. Nevertheless, the potential improvement in efficiency, accuracy, and compliance make digital transformation an essential step for modern tax administration. Okay, thank you, Mr. Nufransa. Before concluding this session, I would like to all participants to turn on camera. So maybe Alisa can take a picture. Alisa?
Okay, Mr. Taufik. Okay, so Rupert, please turn on your camera. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, once again, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Mr. Rina, as the head of the program of study, will present a certificate online today to Mr. Nufransa. Accept it. Maybe Bu Risanti.
It's okay, Mr. Taufik.
Okay.
You can share directly to Dr. Nufransa.
Okay.
On behalf of our head of department and secretary of department.
Okay. Once again, thank you, Mr. Nufransa Wira Sakti, S.Kom, M.Ec, and all participants who have attended the summer course program held by Accounting Study Program of the Faculty of Economic and Business, Universitas Sumatera Utara. To Dr. Rina Bukit, S.A., M.Sc, AKCA, as head of Accounting Study Program and Secretary of Accounting Study Program, Mrs. Risanti, S.A., M.Sc, AKCA. Thank you for the opportunity to join the summer course program. Before closing, maybe let me read a pantun. Can I? Okay.
Sure, Mr. Taufik.
A monkey is stealing apple pie. It pressed a button to open the gateway. I promise this is not a goodbye. I will see you again someday. I'm Taufik. Sincerely apologize for the mistake I have probably made during this lecture. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a good day. Okay, for the next, I return to Alisa as a host, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, all of the members, all the students, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Dr. Fran. See you again. Hopefully this is not last, but we'll be continue our collaboration. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pak Sambas.
Okay, thank you to Mr. Taufik and Dr. Nufransa for an insightful session on e-tax implementation and threats. Okay, now I want to remind all the participants to remember to fill out the attendance form shot in the chat box. And then We have finished the first lecture session for today. We will return at 2 p.m. sharp for the second lecture on accounting strategic and organizational performance by Professor Madya Dr. Azrul Abdullah CAM. Okay, see you later.